Hey guys, what is going on? Slevtek here, and I just want to give a little bit of a disclaimer before we get into the podcast. We had a little bit of an issue with our recording software, so we lost about 20 minutes of the beginning of the podcast. So it is going to jump into the middle of a conversation, but I did pick it up to where the start is going to flow into a conversation pretty well. Before we get into it, though, I really do want you guys to hit the link down below and go give my man, the OG Cobra, a nice, big, strong follow over on Twitch. Go show this man some love. He works so hard each and every day. He's trying to become a full-time content creator, and this guy is absolutely hilarious. So if you are looking for a Call of Duty streamer, especially the Blackout Battle Royale variety, he is your go-to man. And yeah, guys, just go show him some love. I hope you guys enjoy this podcast. We kind of just talk. It's a bit of a chill time. We also talk about a little bit of strategy and our current strategies and what we feel is the best way to grow an audience or a community as a content creator. So I hope you guys enjoy this, and I'll see you guys in the podcast. Have a good one.
Then that came along, and then the company also offered tuition assistance and reimbursement for engineers. So I started going to engineering school while I worked there, but oil field went down and life happens.
Wait, so you were in college, you took the job from the oil field as a logistics manager? Is that what you went into originally, or
I
what was your...
started as a logistics tech.
Okay, and what does that typically entail?
Uh, 7 days straight, 13, 14-hour days of grinding on a computer to get trucks from point A to point B.
Oh, so you're kind of like the route setter, or trying to find the best navigation for it, or how does that?
I hired the trucks to take stuff from point A to point B.
Okay, so you would kind of vendor out the transportation
Yes.
of the oil?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. Dude, how was that being like an 18, 19-year-old doing that? Did you
It was
feel...
pretty rough,
Was there a
but the
learning
money
curve
was
for
so
it?
good.
Was there a learning curve for it?
Not really.
No? So like pretty much anybody could pick it up?
I could probably teach a monkey to be a logistics coordinator for Slumberjay.
Making 60,000 a year. Jesus, man. And then you kind of rose up through that to become a manager, making even better money, I can imagine. How long did that take you?
2 or 3 years?
Okay, so how long were you with them before you said the
I
company
think like
dissolved?
6 years. 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm. And then the company went under or dissolved or whatnot?
They're still active, but
Oh, okay.
closer to the end of it, my job was like so thin. I was literally going to work every and staring at my computer because I had absolutely nothing to do.
Really?
But yeah, I was still collecting a check, and I was like, man, I am so stressed. Like, I felt like I was gonna get laid off any day, and like they were offering me other people's positions and stuff, and I was like, look, I'm really young. I can go back to school or do something else. Like, let someone else keep their job. I'm just done with this. Like, I was
Yeah.
so stressed out.
Why was it that like your workload got significantly decreased? Did it start to get automated or what was...
No, it was just like there was so few jobs at the time
Mhm.
because the price of oil just like plummeted.
Yeah. How long ago was this?
3 years maybe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember when a couple years ago when gas was super cheap. It was almost like at $2, I think.
Yeah, that's the time when I was like quitting that job.
Really? Okay, so then what did you do after that? Because I read in your bio that you're going to nursing school, right?
Yeah, I went to nursing school like pretty much directly after that, and I actually failed out of nursing school in the final class just a few months ago.
Okay. What what were your thoughts when you failed out of it? Like what? Okay, so you got... Run me through the story if you're open to it. Obviously, I don't want to make you uncomfortable or anything. Of like how you kind of failed out of it, and then what your thought was in the moment, and then what you did immediately after that. Because it's just a couple months ago, right? So you're still kind
Right.
of winging off of
So
that.
starting out, I didn't even know if I wanted to be a nurse, honestly, but I was like, man, it's something fast I can do. And like a lot of people in my family have been nurses, so
Fast, dude. That's like a 4-year, 5-year program, right?
it's like 3.
3 if you expedite
It
it.
was
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 3 at my school.
Okay.
So, I mean, I actually figured out that I enjoyed it. Like I really like being a nurse, but like closer to the end, my instructor in my final class was actually the dean of nursing, like the dean
Mhm.
of the school. So I don't know. It was just so rough, honestly. Like I swear she did not want anyone to pass, but
Bit of a
I
hard
don't know.
ass
I really
teacher.
liked it, but closer to the end, I just felt like I couldn't pass. Like honestly, like no matter what I did, I just was not passing. And up until that point, it was so easy for me.
Sure.
Like I barely had to study, I barely had to do anything. And then I get to this final class, I'm studying my ass off and still failing like every exam. So
Yeah,
by the end of it, I was just like, you know what? I'm done. Like there's nothing I can do to pass this class.
for sure. Did you reach your clinicals portion?
Yeah.
Oh, so you got your clinicals, did all that, dude. Yeah, so you were right at the very end then, because my mom's a nurse. She's a psych nurse, so she kind of went through all that. She graduated when she was 50, right before her 50th birthday. Went back to school and everything. So okay, so you fail out. What's your immediate? Were you already dating your now wife, or?
We were already married. We've been dating for she's sitting right next to me. I've got to get this right. Hang on, I'm phoning a friend. 7 years.
You guys have been dating for 7 years? So you met her while you were still working in the oil industry,
Yes,
or were you? What did you meet her before that?
it was pretty close to the beginning.
Wow. How'd you guys meet?
Uh,
I
dude,
want
like I said,
I want
West
to know
Texas.
Cobra's like love life. Let's go.
So the town that we're from it's like 20,000 maybe population.
Sure.
So everybody just knows everybody, and we actually met at a little like friend gathering, and I don't know, we just really hit it off and kind of been stuck together since then.
Okay, so run me through that night. I'm gonna put you on I'm gonna put you on that
Hang
spot,
on.
bro. No, I don't want to know any of the dirty details. But like, did you see her from across the room and you're like, oh, I'm gonna go talk to that girl. She is fine. I want to get to know her on an emotional and slightly physical level. Or like, what was going through your mind? Run me through that night.
That's pretty much it, actually.
Okay, okay.
Actually, my friend was like trying to date her at the time, and I didn't even know. So, like, I went to this gathering with him, and then when we leave, I was like, "Yo, who's that chick that was like over there?" And he was like, "Oh, that's so and so. We're talking." And I was like, "Oh, damn, really?"
But
So
they weren't really talking.
they actually dated for a little bit,
Oh, dude, you like bro coded him?
dude.
No. Did you
Not
swipe
really.
her? Did you swipe your now wife?
Maybe.
Respect, bro. Okay, you know what? You went after it, you got it, and you sealed the deal, right? You know?
Exactly.
You went after and like you knew that it was something. So at that party, was it a party or was it like just a get together?
It
I
was
don't know
kind
what
of
you
a
guys
get
doing.
together more than anything.
What does that mean? Like a
It
get
was like a
together?
barbecue. People were drinking, but it wasn't like a. I wasn't doing keg stands.
Sure. But like, so it was like a kickback. Would you say?
Yeah.
Okay. Because like, I mean, there's so many like across the board. Because I almost went to college in Tennessee, and like, there's so many different like versions of like a barbecue or like a kickback or whatnot. You know what I mean? Like when I lived in Missouri, people would literally just go into the cornfields and have a bonfire and just get drunk. Like I'm like that was like their version of like just hanging out. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, this is kind of weird.
I mean, that sounds pretty cool.
I mean, it is, but it's cool for like 2 or 3 weeks in a row, and then it's just like, okay, what's next? You know what I mean?
Okay, I could do it maybe every once in a while.
Dude, right? Yeah, but that's the only thing you can do in like Missouri. Not to like knock anybody from Missouri, but Missouri sucks. I call it misery. Okay, so you saw her. Did you like? How did you approach her? How does Cobra seal the deal with his future wife? Saw her from
Actually,
across the
she
room.
brought me a beer, and it was like game over.
She made the first move.
You made the first move,
She
bro.
made the first move. You didn't have to do anything.
I didn't do anything, dude. I was just chilling.
So she went after what she wanted. Oh, dude, that's awesome.
Pretty much, actually, yeah.
respect to your wife. I don't know her name or anything, but can she hear? Can she hear me right
Yeah.
now? Hi.
Hi.
She is right there. Dude, that's awesome though. No, I'm honestly like that's a really cool story. I always love because like me and you are both decently looking like men. I'm not gonna deny it. Like I do all right. You do all right, I imagine. Like it's cool to see like when like somebody else like the female kind of takes the lead or like lets her know that you're interested. You know, it's very refreshing. You know.
Yeah, it honestly is.
Okay, so she gave you a beer. What's next?
Um,
If I'm making you uncomfortable at all, we can totally change the subject, but I'm just super curious.
no, it's good. I just don't really remember now.
Dude, you're going to be in the doghouse.
I know, right? I mean, I was only chilling there for maybe like an hour, and then we left because I don't remember what we were doing, but we had other stuff to do.
But you were with like your friends or whatnot?
Yeah,
Okay.
Oh.
yeah, we did keep going out, but
Okay, so
I
did you
mean,
get
she
her
liked to
number?
throw down like one. Okay, let me tell you this story.
No.
One time we were supposed to hang out, right? So I'm like, yo, let's go to this bar, let's get lit, let's have fun. I show up, she's like, I'm here, and it was like 30 minutes later. I show up, she is like blackout drunk, puking everywhere, and then like her brother-in-law or somebody comes and picks her up, and I was like, yo, what's the deal with that? I was supposed to be hanging out with her.
Yeah. Oh man, dude, that's cool, man. So, were you born and raised in this town, or did you move there when you were like older, or what?
Unfortunately, born and raised.
And you haven't left?
Yeah, we moved to San Antonio for my job with
Okay.
Schlumberger. We lived there for like 2 years.
You and your now wife?
Yeah,
What's your wife's name, if you don't mind, or if you're
Keisha.
comfortable? Keisha. Sweet. Okay, that way I don't have to keep saying your wife. Okay, so you and Keisha then moved there. Okay, that's cool. Um, Dude, that's pretty fascinating. Have you been out of the country, or have you done much traveling, or kind of stayed in Texas,
I mean, does Mexico count?
like Puerto Vallarta, or like what are you talking about? Like Rocky
Cancun.
Top? Okay, yeah, no, just as long as you're not in like Rocky Point, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you know Rocky Point? I'm sure everybody
No.
knows. No. Oh yeah. So Rocky Point is literally just like on the border of like Arizona and Mexico, and
Oh, okay.
it's not even really Mexico, to be honest.
It's like Del Rio here.
Probably, yeah. But yeah,
The border
Cancun.
city.
There's some.
That's where you go get shanked.
There's some cartel stuff going on in Cancun, though, from what I've heard. It gets pretty
Okay,
serious.
listen to this. Me and my brother and my
Yeah, okay,
friend.
no. Okay, I'm gonna make this like a whole separate video because you've actually told me this story of like.
Okay.
So tell a
I
story.
did tell you
tell
this
us,
already?
Yeah. Tell a story. This is an awesome story. Keep going. Okay.
Okay, so I tell it now.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So, me and my brother and said friend actually, we decided to go. It was my 21st birthday. We decided to go to Mexico, and we're gonna have a blast. Well, it was like day 2. We take a cab at night. We were supposed to just go from the bar. We're already pretty drunk, dude. We're pretty drunk. We're supposed to go from the bar in this cab back to the room, whatever you want to call it, resort. And instead, the taxi cab driver's like, "You guys like to party?" And we're like, "Yeah, of course we do." So he takes that as I'm taking these guys somewhere where they don't want to be. Like this is not the party. I'm telling you, this is not the party.
Oh man.
He drives us through like I don't even know, like actual Mexico, not Cancun. There's like cops breaking down doors.
the streets.
Yeah, dude, like the hood of Mexico. I was scared for my life, and I was like, "Yo, can you just take us back to the resort? Because this is kind of weird." He's like, "No, we're almost there. You'll have fun. You'll have fun." And I was like, "Whatever. I mean,
How old were you at
vacation,
this
right?"
time?
So, anyways, we end up at this place. I don't even know what it is,
How old were
but my brother gets held for ransom at gunpoint with like legit SMGs, like
you?
MX9 looking SMGs.
Oof.
And so the guy's like, "You give us 100, or wait, what was it? It was like 1,000 pesos, and we let you have your brother." And I was
Just
like,
$100.
"Yeah." Like they're like talking to us in
Oh, okay.
Spanish, like for this. I don't know. It felt like a lifetime, But then finally we like get the price out of him, and it's 1,000 pesos, which is literally at the time $105. And we're like, so wait, you're holding us for $100? It was wild, dude.
And so you
Like if I
had
ever get held for ransom again, it better be for $100.
so, but what you told me is you then had to go with your buddy to an ATM while they
back to
held
the
your
resort
brother
to get cash
ransom.
out.
So run me
Okay,
through
yeah.
that experience. Like I want like a play-by-play.
So the same cab driver, I'm like, yo, you got to take us back to the resort. I have to get money out of the ATM because I didn't carry cash on me.
Sure.
So we go back. It's like a 30-minute drive, dude. I swear. All the way back to the
Which
resort.
probably felt like a lifetime, I could imagine.
Dude, it did. Like, I'm just like worrying that they're going to, I don't know, kidnap my brother again, like take him somewhere else. I don't know, shoot him. Anyway, so we get back to the resort. The ATM is literally in 30 languages and none of them are English. So I do my best to get as much money out as I can. And there's apparently an option on Mexican ATMs where you can shred your card. I don't know why, but I got money out, and then instead of return card, I was just assuming that this language said return card. It was shred my card. So I literally got out like $200 in pesos. I don't know what it was, like 2,000 pesos. And then it shredded my card. And that's literally all the money I had until the end of that trip. And it was like 5 more days. So that was pretty rough.
Dude, okay, so run me through like the taxi driver took you to a place, right? What was that place?
I don't even know how to describe it, to be honest. It looked kind of like, I mean, it was a regular looking house.
So he brought you to a house, not like a club or anything like that.
It was definitely not a club. It was definitely not a club. There was music playing and there was like people dancing around, but I think it was all just like this weird, elaborate setup to lure in.
So the cab driver
tourists.
was probably in on it.
Yeah. Yeah, the cab driver was definitely in on it. We
Yeah.
saw him the next day. And what did he say? He was like, "You want to go party?" And we were like, "Fuck no, bro."
Screw
Get
you,
out of
man.
here. Yeah.
Dude.
And
Okay,
then he was like, "Haha, fuck you, rednecks."
oh man. So you pull up to this place then, so what happens next?
I mean, we just walked in thinking maybe we're just gonna like actually chill and have fun. I mean, I didn't know what to think.
So you
Like,
walk in
guys
the
barely-
front door, what happens?
What?
You walk into the front door, what happens?
I mean, there's just like bodyguards, right? They're wearing tuxes and they legit have like some, I don't know what they were. They were some kind of submachine guns though. And I
Sure.
was like, this looks a little sketchy, not gonna lie.
And so then at that point they engaged you? Is that what happened?
Yeah,
And
it was pretty much immediate from then.
really, so it wasn't like they saw you at the party. It was a full on setup. Like it
Yeah.
was like a scheme to get you. Dude, I wonder how many times they actually like do that a week, you know?
I mean, $100 doesn't seem like much to a person, but then when they do that over and over and over, I bet they bang.
True, but like also like if they're just like petty criminals, because it doesn't seem like it's like a cartel thing, because they would not be asking for 1,000 pesos.
Exactly.
You know, so it's probably just some guys trying to make a quick buck. And 1,000 pesos, is that a decent amount in Mexico at that time to like support people or feed a family? Would you imagine?
I mean, in Cancun, you could probably party for a day off of it.
Yeah, so
So-
like with how many people were probably there though, it probably didn't make much sense. That's
Yeah.
weird, man. Yeah, that's an odd experience. So how was the exchange though when you got the 100 pesos and like the taxi driver drove you back to retrieve your brother for $100 ransom?
This is
Run me
this is
through
actually
that.
where it honestly gets even weirder because we hand the guys the money. He claps me on the shoulder and he's like, "You stay and party," and we're like, "What?" I was like, "No, we're getting the fuck out of here."
Right? And the taxi driver drove you home?
Yeah, and he charged us another $45 to take us back.
That makes no sense, man.
It really doesn't, and we're
no
still
sense.
confused about that to this day.
Dude, ugh, man. I don't know. I've heard some like great stories from Mexico, and I've heard some horrible stories. I've been there, I think, like once or twice. Haven't been too much. I've traveled more like through Europe and like the Bahamas. I'm originally from like Puerto Rico, or was like raised half the time, I should say, over there. Um, which I mean, like the Bahamas have their own separate problems, which I could go into, but that's crazy, man. Like Mexico, you always hear like those horror stories. So I feel like you got off real easy compared to what some
Yeah.
others do. You know what I mean? Damn, man. Okay, so how long ago was that? How old were you?
I was 21, so that was 7 years ago now. That actually makes me feel kind of old.
Jesus, dude. Oh man. So you were working in the oil industry at that point, right?
Right.
Because you started when you were like 18, 19, you said?
Yep.
Okay, and so like, are you pretty close with your brother then, even to this day, or
Oh yeah.
yeah, like you and him are pretty much like homies.
Yeah, we're homies.
Does he live in the same town as you?
No, he lives in Austin now.
Okay, yeah, dude, that's man. How many brothers and sisters do you have, or just your bro?
Just my bro. I mean, from my dad's side, that's kind of different, but I think like 8 from his side.
Sure, but like
But
who you
I don't really
associate
know them
with?
a whole lot.
Yeah, man, dude, that's a weird story, man. Like it
It
almost
is,
like
isn't it?
doesn't add up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, why would they hold you ransom for $105?
that's what I'm saying. Like
I
it was just such a weird situation.
I would never let your brother live that down. To be honest, just be like, bro, your life is literally worth $105.
I say that to him all the time, honestly.
Okay, so at that point, 21, were you in nursing school, or were you still technically? No,
No,
'cause
I was full time in the
yeah, you just stopped a couple of months ago, so you were 28. My bad.
yeah,
When's your birthday? When
May.
you turn 29? Oh, okay, so you still got a little bit before you turn 29. Dude, you got a ways before you're 30. We can make you a full time streamer until like before then.
I hope so, man.
What does your wife think about you streaming?
She's actually very, very supportive,
Yeah,
honestly, which is crazy to me
I see her
because
in the
I'm like
stream
constantly
all
just
the
chilling
time.
playing video games, and she's pretty supportive of it.
yeah. Does she think that you can make it like a career? Does she know about like a streaming industry, the streaming industry?
I think that she thinks that I can, but I'm like on the verge of I probably can't, but I'm gonna do my best to try.
Sure. So like currently right now is this like your main focus is trying to make this like your full-time gig?
Yeah,
Yeah. So you're real because you stream close to like 8 hours a day at the very least, every single day, right?
yeah, pretty much.
So like you're legitimately putting in the grind hours to make it, right? Like
Yeah.
that's your goal. What's your strategy for trying to legitimately like reach as many people? Because at the end of the day, it's a numbers game. The more people that you have watching you, the more people that can support you from a monetary sense. You know, not everybody's gonna be a corrupt. Shout out to corrupt. We love you, bro. Like,
Dude,
you're
corrupt
an
is the
animal,
goat.
right? Absolute animal. But
Dude, I am so lucky that I found Corrupt and he found me. Like that's insane.
he's just a cool guy. I honestly thought he was like 50. He's like 20. And he's like
Yeah,
gifted
he's
like
young,
70
dude.
plus subs to you now, almost 80.
Yeah, 79 I think today. Total.
Absolutely ridiculous. Like I love people like that, that have the means to do it and want to support. You're essentially supporting a dream,
Exactly.
and an ambition. So I love that. But what do you see yourself like? How many people do you feel like it will take for you to be able to justify like, yes, I'm a streamer and I can do this full time?
I don't know, that's hard. I mean, from a monetary sense, I think like even 2K a month is enough for like the bare minimum,
Sure. But you
like
think
bills
that
paid, groceries and stuff like that.
that's not that much if you really
It
think
really
about it.
isn't,
You know
but
what I mean? But it's hard to get that ball rolling.
it really is. That's the thing. It's getting started and
Yeah.
then hopefully the snowball effect takes over.
Yeah. So what's your strategy for it then, like to grow, or is it yours just grind it out as many hours as you can on Twitch, or do you kind of have like another strategy or another part to your strategy?
I've got to start content creating. Like streaming isn't enough, honestly. Like I feel like I mean streaming is where you make your money and stuff like that, and I think
Most
that's where you
definitely.
have your most fun. But honestly, to reach out to the most people, you have to be on multiple platforms. Like Twitch is there's only so many people watching Twitch. Like I feel like if you edit videos and you edit videos well and you post them to YouTube and people start watching them, then they're gonna follow you on Twitch,
Hmm.
YouTube.
The conversion.
So yeah, I think just reaching out to as many platforms as you can, honestly, is that's where I'm going with it.
So what's that look like for you? Are you looking at solely like YouTube content, or like posting on other social media platforms, or kind of run me through what's going on in your head, or if you want to like bounce anything off me. That's what I love about this podcast is it's literally talking about strategies and like literally anything. So anybody watching this or 5 years down the line, me and you can be like, hey yo, bro, remember when we were talking about strategies? And like me and you are big time streamers now, 5 years down the line. What's up, future me? Um, you doing it right. Keep going, bro. You know what's up. I see you. I know what you're trying to do. But no, like what do you foresee like it taking? Like where do you see the strategy that'll separate you from somebody else?
Honestly, like I feel like multiple platforms.
Mm,
That's the first thing. Twitch, YouTube, all social medias. Like there's people that aren't on Twitch and there's people that are on Twitch but aren't on YouTube. There's people that are on Instagram and don't even know what Twitch is.
sure.
So I feel like posting high quality content on YouTube, streaming quality time on Twitch, and then posting like some badass clips on Instagram, Twitter, and stuff like that is going to draw the crowd. So that's
Okay.
kind of my strategy, just like reaching out in all directions and trying to like kind of centralize it on the stream.
So what quality content would you bring to YouTube? Like what are your thoughts on like future videos? Because everybody knows a Modern Warfare Battle Royale is coming out in the near future, most likely Q1 of 2020. Um, for those who don't know what Q1 is, it's pretty much between I believe
January,
January to
February, March.
like April, right? Is
Yeah.
like Q1. Um, what's your ideal video content that you want to like try to target to an audience? Because like it's one thing to make a video, it's another thing to target it to like viewers that haven't seen your content before. What are you gonna do to like target like what content?
So I think that all depends on honestly the game, like the play style of the game. Like if I start out and I just absolutely destroy it, then I'm gonna make content purely over like high kill games, high skill games. But if it's more like modern warfare where I'm gonna be a dumpster at it, then I'm gonna try and make it funny.
Sure. Yeah. No, I think like honestly between you and me, if we were to make some videos, I'm not even joking, we could have people rolling in their chairs. Like just
Dude,
tonight, for an example, like I hopped on for what, an hour and a half, 2 hours. I have no idea what you were doing beforehand, but I had like the best 2 hours for that I've had in a long time playing with you guys, like doing Fight Club in the boxing ring and Blackout and doing bumper cars and all that stuff. Like it's insane.
I think doing stuff like that, honestly, I mean, I feel like it was a lot of fun and it was really funny to watch.
Right? Like I
So
wish
if we
I
make
wish we
videos
were
like
recording
that in
that whole
Modern
thing.
Warfare, it's going to draw a new crowd. So I think I'm hoping that Modern Warfare Battle Royale can just really inflate our growth.
Yeah, I think no matter what, when you have a new game that has some hype around it, there's going to be an organic reach that you can acquire. And organic reach is the hardest thing to pin down, where you can post something and you get just viewers based off of the genre that you're in. You know what I mean? Like TikTok, for example, has a great organic reach right now, but nobody wants to go on to it because they feel like it's just for like 12-year-olds. But there's millions
Wait, it's
of
not
12
just
year
for
olds.
12-year-olds?
Are you on it too?
No, I'm not.
Dude, it's awesome. Not even joking. Like I'm kind of low key addicted to TikTok. Have you heard of Gary Vaynerchuk?
No.
He's a big. Do you know like the Mad Men of like the 50s? Do you know who
Yeah.
they are? Like
Yeah.
the marketing guys. He's essentially like the modern day like madman. He owns a social media marketing company that's valued at over, I believe, like $200 million. But he posts like crazy like content on his YouTube channel on everything, and he essentially just gives all his content for free on like what they're currently promoting and trying to get like big companies to do, and kind of like how to get ahead of the curve a little bit. And he's saying like right now like driving TikTok and LinkedIn for their organic reach. He pretty much says that it's like 2007 like Facebook when you could just get like 100 or 1,000 like likes on a video from people you didn't even know, like that's now TikTok in this day and age. And so that's why I'm really striving to make some, like I've told you a couple of ideas that I've had with like the James Bond theme and everything. I don't want to
Yeah.
go too much into it, but I feel like that'd be perfect on that platform, to take you to another
That
level.
actually makes sense, and I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, it's just like the new apps where essentially the big companies haven't found that like, hey, this is a viable place to essentially market, so they don't run as many ads and there's not as much like spam on there. Like if you go to Instagram now, like every fifth post is like a promoted post that somebody's paying to try and sell you something on Instagram. You know what I mean? Same with Facebook, same with all those places. Um, they barely have that, or they're just now starting to have that on TikTok. So there's a lot more viewers to like streamer or content creator ratio. So I am personally trying to crack in on it and have some fun ideas. But I think people for the battle royale could really use that as a platform to grow themselves.
I might have to take a look at it then.
Dude, check it out. I feel like, and then you can do like some like cool duet stuff too, which I think could be really fun in like a Call of Duty sense. Like trying to recreate moments from another person's video, and like a duet is essentially where I don't know too much, but where you use the audio from their video, and then you like voice over your video with it, but with their voice. Does that make sense? So,
Yeah. It's
so
like a voiceover, basically.
it's legitimately just not a voiceover, because a voiceover is like you voicing over like their video.
A reverse voiceover.
It's like a reversal of a voiceover, yeah, where you're like lip syncing kind of to their audio and like making your own video off of it. So I think there's a cool dynamic there. But dude, like I can tell you want it hard. Like you want it, like you're grinding for it so much. With streaming to try and make it a full-time job. It's hard, man. Like that's why like I wanted to start this podcast, is like I don't want to just like, don't get me wrong, if I get the opportunity to like have a huge YouTuber on, I'm not going to say no, or a content creator. But I like having like the guys that are in the trenches, or girls that are in the trenches where they're grinding every single day. We're trying to make it. We're all trying to build a community to where we can support ourselves with it, and try to get everybody's take on it and like what it's like for them and their experiences on the up and up. It's fascinating to me to kind of hear everybody's story. Because we all have one. We all have our own like start into streaming and our own upbringing. So. It's pretty cool. Other games, man. Do you play any other games?
Hardly.
Just Call of Duty?
Pretty much, yeah.
How long have you been playing Call of Duty for? Like, what was your first Call of Duty?
I honestly don't even remember. I think I've played every single Call of Duty besides like the very first one that was PC only.
Yeah. So you played like COD 2 and COD 3?
Yeah.
Really? I played
I'm
a
pretty
little
sure
bit
I
of COD
played
3.
all of them. I barely remember some of them.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you're 5 years older than me? Because I'm 23, you're 28. So yeah, you were a little bit before before me, so you really got to probably experience COD 4. How old were you when COD 4 came out?
I don't even remember.
Like you were probably still in like middle school or something like that.
Yeah. I
Or
mean,
like
I remember like at that time I was more into like Halo and stuff like in those ages. I remember Halo more than COD
okay,
because I always hated COD. Like the spawns back then were atrocious in COD.
yeah,
So, I mean, I was way more into Halo and stuff like that.
sure. So were you an Xbox player then? I imagine
Yeah.
like 360, Xbox original.
Yeah.
That was me too, man. Did you play like Xbox Live on the original Xbox, or did you only play it on the 360?
No, I played on the original too.
Really? Okay, so how did that work? Did you have to have like an Ethernet cable to the Xbox, or
Yeah. Wait, do you play wireless on your PS4?
not now? No, like I do wired now, but I remember on the 360 I had that little dongle that like would connect
Oh,
wirelessly.
yeah, yeah, I do
And
remember
like
that.
I got that for Christmas, and I knew I had made it at that point because I could play online. I was like, yes. At that
This
point,
is real life.
I had run through the COD 4 campaign like 87 times. It was
Yeah.
it was rough out there for a 12-year-old, or no, not even. I think I was like an 8-year-old Slevtek. It was rough before I even like Slevtek was even like in a thought process. That's funny. Cobra. How did you come up with that name? Run me through that
It
origin
was
story.
actually my original PSN name. It was V1 Cobra, and I have a Mustang Cobra with a Vortex supercharger. So I just kind of made that my PSN ID. And
Uh,
then when I first started streaming, I was like, this just doesn't seem like a good, like a catchy name.
mm.
So I just added the OG to it. And I mean, that's just everyone does the OG something now. So now it's just like too typical.
Now you look like a 12-year-old boy.
I do.
You just need like a 69 and like five X's in your name, like lowercase and like
I
uppercase,
might
and
change
you're
it
gonna be
to
good.
X the OG 69er Cobra. X.
Dude, I'd give you 5 subs if you did that. Not even not even joking. But you have to keep it for like 5 months. Oh man, do you want to ask me anything, man? I feel like I've been like kind of hitting you with questions. I want this to kind of go both ways. Anything you wanna ask me or want to know about me?
I mean, what really got you started into it?
Into streaming in general, or just like content
Yeah,
creation? Streaming, honestly, like I said, it was that when I was in Puerto Rico. I lived in Puerto Rico for a
right.
year.
League of
I
Legends.
Yeah, I'd moved there because at that time I was a professional swimmer. I retired at 18 due to a hip surgery, and after the hip surgery, they told me like I ended up there was some complications during the surgery, and I ended up getting a heart condition because of it. I lost a lot of weight, and I could go into that a little bit later. But ultimately, they told me that I couldn't swim anymore because of the heart condition. If I kept training the way that I was, my heart rate could get. If my heart rate passed a certain point, then my aortic valve could rupture, and at that point, it'd be no resuscitation. And so at that point, I was like, okay, I legitimately can't swim anymore. Had forced retirement, and kind of went through like this existential like crisis where I didn't know who I was, because I was always like from the age of 5 I swam competitively in swim, and that was my life all the way up until I was 18. And my path was pretty much planned out. I was on like a full ride scholarship to University of Tennessee to swim for them. I had a shoe in for the Olympic team for Puerto Rico for the Rio Olympics, and at the time of my retirement, I was 12th in the world for my 50 freestyle time because I was a sprinter. But then once, literally, like one day, they told me like you can't do it anymore. And so I was like, oh shit, like what do I do? Who am I? And I felt sorry for myself, and I kind of went into my room and went into the depression for like 2 months. And then eventually one day I realized, I was like, yo, like this is the hand that you're dealt. You can keep feeling sorry for yourself, and you can peak when you're 18 and live a miserable life for the rest of your life, or you can do something about it. And so I decided to go completely opposite. I worked a couple jobs, saved up enough money, and I flew out to Puerto Rico and lived there for the better part of a year. tried to teach myself how to learn Spanish, took some classes and everything, and ended up getting into some trouble with the cartel there. That's
Wait, are you being serious?
not even joking. I actually had to like leave Puerto Rico because there was like a bounty on my head or a price. Okay, so I'm gonna go into that story because I feel like it's gonna make me look.
I can't not hear it.
It's gonna make me sound like I'm a drug dealer or something, which I'm definitely not. Essentially, what it was is I I did like my daily run every single day around like the neighborhood that I lived in, and I lived in the ghetto because like the rent was super cheap. I lived in like a small studio apartment, like smaller than the room that I'm currently like streaming from. Was my whole apartment, and I always had my iPhone on like a little wrist, whatever, and I remember walking home and I had my earbuds and I got tapped on the shoulder and I turn around and I just get sucker punched by this like big Puerto Rican guy. He's like 6'2", like about my same like size, and just like cold clocks me. And like I take a couple steps back and I look up and he's reaching for my armband that had my iPhone on it. And I was like, oh shit, at this moment I knew I was getting mugged. And so I ended up fighting back. Like my fight or flight kind of kicked in, and I essentially like hit him a couple times, grabbed him by his shirt, and I threw him on the ground. And my next thought process was to like hit his leg a couple times, so then I could like demobilize him, so I could get away. Because I didn't know if he had a gun or anything. Like Puerto Rico, it's if you stay in like the resort areas, you're fine. But the more you kind of creep in, it can get very dangerous. And I lived in the ghetto, so you just never really know. And so I kicked him a couple times in like the hamstring with just some like basic kicks, and then I remember stomping on his leg once, and his femur. I can hear the sound now, just popping, like just cracking, and him just screaming out in pain. And I immediately run across the street, dip behind like a parked of like road or a row of parked cars, and just like ran low because I didn't know if he had a gun or whatnot. And I just hear him screaming in the background. I run home real quick and like pretty much like scared out of my mind. I look in the mirror. My eye at this point is like swollen shut because it was like it was a clean shot, and end up going to sleep. The next day I wake up and didn't really tell anybody. I went to my Spanish class. They saw that I had a black eye and they're like, "Hey, what happened?" I was like, "Oh, I got mugged. I defended myself, this and that." They're like, "You need to be careful because like they're probably associated with the cartel or something. So just kind of watch your back." And I was like, "Okay." That night, I get called from my what do you call it? I didn't get called. I got a knock on my door, and it was the guy that lived above me who kind of knew everybody. And he was like, "Hey man, did you break some guy's leg?" I was like, whoa, hold up. It was self-defense, and like he was trying to steal my phone. I was just trying to get away and I accidentally broke his leg. And he's like, "Well, the person that you broke their leg is a cousin of a high-ranking person in the cartel."
Oh,
and like they just assumed a position of power. And like in Puerto Rico or in the cartel in general, you don't mess with family, And so the fact that I messed with like a high-ranking officer or whatnot in the cartel, they put out like a hit on me. That night they tried to, at that point I was like, okay, he's like, "You need to get out of town." I was like, okay. At that point it was already in the afternoon, like late evening. And so I was like, "I'm going to sleep here, and then in the morning I'm going to go to like my uncle's and like we'll sort it out, I'll like go home or whatnot." They end up trying to break into my apartment that night. I remember it was like 4 a.m. or 3 a.m, and like my door jiggled a little bit and it woke me up. And in Puerto Rico, they have like the Miami hurricane windows. Have you ever seen those?
Yeah.
So they're like all metal, and then there's bars on the windows. And like, dude, I'm telling you, I lived in the ghetto because we had like a metal door that had like a lock on it. And then behind the metal door, so inside the apartment, was like a bar, like something you would see in like a prison, where it was legitimately like bars for like a second line of defense. If somebody were to break into your apartment, they'd have to then get through that had a padlock on it. So I would like lock that padlock every night. I probably still have pictures on my old phone, so like I'd love to whip those out one day of the apartment. It was crazy. But they tried to shimmy that door open and they couldn't, and it was really quiet, but it woke me up and I heard them talking a little bit. Ended up escaping out of my bathroom window, which was on the back of the apartment, and like running to the nearest Walgreens, because they have Walgreens in Puerto Rico, calling my uncle, and then I got on the next plane ticket home. Never, haven't gone back since, actually. It's been like 4 years. But yeah, it was a crazy time, man. But yeah, that's the cartel story.
Jesus. I thought my Mexico story was bad.
Yeah, no, it's in the time it didn't seem that bad. You know what I mean? It just kind of felt like, okay, this is what you have to do. You know, like your instincts actually kick in. It's kind of hard to explain. It wasn't until like I was on the plane like home where I was like, oh shit, like I was actually in danger. But yeah, dude, it's not too bad. I mean, it was crazy, but I came out of it alive, so can't complain, you know. But yeah, no, I started streaming from that apartment, playing League of Legends, and just found out like my buddy was streaming and he got a $10 donation, and not to knock that guy, but I knew like I was more entertaining and in terms of being more proficient at the game, and also from a humor standpoint. So I was like, I'm gonna start streaming too. Streamed the whole time I was in Puerto Rico, streamed to maybe 2 or 3 people, all of them probably my buddies. You know, I'd have the occasional person kind of come in. And then I took a hiatus from streaming for quite a bit of time, because in Puerto Rico I met like 2 of my best friends. One of them's from Switzerland, and I like traveled Europe because he had a wedding in Switzerland, and so I met a lot of people from there. And then one of them was from London, and he was in the yachting industry, which I got to like know a lot about from talking to him. And that's what eventually got me, after that situation, into the yachting industry, which I did for a better part of a year, and then came back, and I've been slowly kind of streaming ever since. So that was probably 2021. So I've been doing this for about 2 years now, and it's now starting to kind of pick up and snowball. I'm doing a lot of different things like this podcast and other things, but yeah, man, that's kind of my story.
Much more interesting than mine.
I don't know, man. We all have our own stories, you know? Like that's what I love about like talking to different people, is everybody has a different story, you know? Nobody's story is the same. It's all different, and no matter what, even if you're the most boring person on earth, you probably have at least one interesting story, you know?
That's true.
Yeah. All right, lay something else on me. What else do you wanna ask me? It could be anything about like strategy to favorite color, if you want to go that cheesy.
What's your favorite color?
Red, bro. You? What's yours?
Blue, actually.
Oh shit. Okay.
That's actually kind of weird. So,
so what?
Yeah, I mean, so your strategy seems kind of similar to mine, but I mean, everyone has little differences. So what would you say your differences, our differences are in strategy?
Honestly, like mine is my strategy moving forward. I've kind of enveloped myself in more of like the back end side of things, because I did the period where I just streamed consistently all the time, and I didn't reap any benefit from it, or at least substantial benefit to justify the endless hours of streaming. Because I feel like if you just stream and you don't grow in an acceptable amount, like if you get like 10 new followers a week, but you stream for 40 hours that week, is that really like a net like profit for you? That's how I view it.
Right.
And so after doing that for a while, I realized I was like, there's got to be a better way to do this. And so just recently I've gotten more into like different methods and like ways or strategies to kind of spice it up and try and reach more people, because in Twitch there's no organic reach. And for those who don't know what organic reach, it's when you post something or when you put content out in whatever variety, live format or production format or whatever, video format or audio, even like this. If somebody doesn't know you, organic reach gets your video or your content to them. So like on TikTok right now, if you post a video that's kind of funny, or let's say you knock off somebody else's idea, which is like what TikTok is all about, you can get organic reach. So you can have 0 followers and you can get 100 views on your video, you know. And so that's what I'm now currently trying to target, is an organic reach. So like there's a video that I have on my YouTube channel which is about to hit 10,000 views, which will exceed all of my other videos by 100 times. And it was my unboxing video of, actually it's not the same controller, but it's this Scuff controller, the 4PS Pro. I literally just did an unboxing. Least amount of time ever put into like a production video, like editing. It was just like a beginning, ending, fade out, outro, done. It was like a 15-minute video, probably took me 5 minutes to edit. So all in all, like from start to finish, I also targeted it with using like tags and all that, maybe an hour worth of work. And it's netted me more subscribers than any one of my other videos, like all of my videos combined. And so that kind of told me that there's a different way to do this. You know, like if you make content that's targeted to people on YouTube, and you can actually find phrases that they want to type into YouTube that aren't oversaturated with all the other content creators. Like if you put in high kill game blackout, you're going to be going up against
videos.
a million videos. You know what I mean? It's insane. But if you type in best sniping tricks in Blackout 2020, you know what I mean? Because 2020 is now coming up. That might be a better targeted video where you might get 3,000 people looking for it, you know, but there's nobody else posting content on it. So you can be on the top page. You can be number 1. So when they type that in, you're able to be the first view. And that's where like thumbnail like creation and making sure that it's appealing to their eyes so that they want to click on it, and the titles and all that. And that's where targeting comes into play. If you can do that, like for some reason, my Scuff controller unboxing video ranked on the top page. It was like number 2 for Scuff 4PS Pro unboxing. Like just that little phrase. And that's what's gotten me about 10,000 views, you know? And so moving forward, I'm going to use the organic reach of TikTok. I'm also going to kind of dabble with LinkedIn as well, because it's kind of gone to more of a content creation platform as well. But then I'm also going to be targeting YouTube videos way more as well, especially with like the new BR that's going to come out. There's going to be a lot of people trying to find out how to get better or tips and tricks on there. So hopefully one of those videos can land, you know. That's my ultimate strategy, is just kind of overwhelm like great quality content and like something that people can actually use and learn from, as well as like keep the funny content for the viewers that constantly watch you, you know, like your everyday subscribers and people that are already invested in you. They want to see your personality. So it's kind of balancing those two, is like trying to get new people, but also trying to still appease or respect the community that you've already been like, or already have created, you know. So it's just that balancing act between the two that I'm trying to currently do, if that makes sense. I don't know.
That does actually make sense. I'm actually a little bit surprised that your unboxing video took off like that. I don't know why I'm surprised, because like I'm always Google or YouTubing like unboxing and stuff.
Right.
So it makes sense. I don't know. I never thought about it.
Yeah, and that video alone, off of like around, I'm at like 9,760 views currently at the moment. I know before 2020 ends or 2019 ends, I'm definitely gonna be over 10K on it, because I don't know if you didn't know like YouTube analytics. Have you ever kind of dabbled in that? Like
Yeah.
YouTube Studio. It'll show you like how many views on a video that you've gotten in the past 24 or 48 hours on a video. and I consistently get over like 100 to 200 views per 48 hours. So it's a pretty good conversion. Whereas like all my other videos, like I'll look and it'll be like maybe if I'm lucky, like one in the past 48 hours, you know?
Right.
So it's just not targeted. People can't find it. And like you can make the best content in the world, but if people can't find it or stumble upon it, it's useless, you know? And I feel like that's personally what people don't take into account. And Gary Vee goes into this a lot, but I don't want to sound like I'm just like reiterating what he says, but there's a pretty popular thing that he says. He's like, people make selfish content, you know? And they make what they feel like they want to produce. You know, it's not necessarily what will make them successful. It's not necessarily what other people want them to produce. And it's definitely not what's going to get them noticed. And so you need to balance all of that into like making it still entertaining for yourself, giving the people that already know you what they want out of you, but then also giving new content to people that don't know you yet so that you can kind of snag them with like an informative video or whatnot, a video that blows up, and then they can stumble upon the rest of your like personality content, you know? So it's a lot that goes into it. Like there's definitely it's not just luck trying to become a content creator. There's so much work that people don't see behind the scenes, you know? It's kind of fascinating in my opinion.
I mean, editing a quality video can take hours.
Have
Honestly.
you edited before?
I have, and I'm absolutely terrible at it.
Have you been using Premiere Pro or what?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm so glad you're on Premiere Pro though, because you can do so much with it once you learn it. But what have you edited so far? Like, what's your
I've actually got a
experience?
few videos on YouTube, but they're all pretty low quality because that was when I was like streaming and making videos just directly from my PS4.
Sure.
So I haven't even tried like with my new system yet,
Yeah.
but
With, like your
that's
PC and whatnot.
I'm trying to get back into it,
Mm.
but I mean I've been pretty busy lately, honestly. Like on top of streaming, I have a lot of stuff going on in my life. So,
Do you want to talk about that at all, or you want to kind of keep that separate?
yeah, I'd rather honestly keep that separate.
Yeah, yeah, no worries. Um, yeah, man. Honestly, like editing videos, I feel like people don't understand. Like I did a series where it's like document every snipe on my channel, where I did like a mini montage every single day that I released that same day of the stream that I like had. Like so if it was a Tuesday, I would stream Tuesday, and then Tuesday night at like 2 a.m. or technically Wednesday morning, I would post the video after I was done editing it. And it would take for a 3-minute video that I would edit to like music, it would take like 4 or 5 hours to like go through all the content of like 6 hours worth of stream, get all the sniping clips, and then sync them up to music, and then put a funny bit in there. It's tough. Like it's something that people that view it don't take into account, nor should they. You know, they're just coming there to be entertained, but it's hard work, man. Like it's countless
It
hours
is.
of
It's rough.
yeah.
Like people will say, "So you just play video games all day?" Not really. Like if you're
Yeah.
creating content, it's hours and hours and hours of editing, especially if you're not used to the program or if you haven't ever learned it or used it.
It takes you like four
It's
times the
rough.
amount. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's crazy. So when do you start? When do you plan on kind of making some more content, man? On like
I don't
YouTube.
know, honestly. Like I over the past few weeks, I've been kind of like getting the idea that you're trying to convey to me. Like I'm gonna be throwing a video out there. I'll probably spend like 8 hours actually making this video and then putting it on YouTube for it to just be like piled underneath like Spiros, Bobby, Youngstas, Gangstas, like all these people that are well known. And I think that's part of what's kind of stopping me from doing it too.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I need to think of something else that I can do. I should have done an unboxing video for my scuff.
Yeah, man. Honestly, like if you have like something to like unbox or whatnot, like that video itself has gained me like 40 subscribers on YouTube, like just from the video. You know, and it's cool that you can see all those analytics, but I really think that that's the way to get in if you want to be new streamer because nobody knows who you are. You know, like nobody knows who you are. Nobody knows who I am. The only way for them to know, and the only way for YouTube to kind of recommend you from the first place is for you to make targeted videos where there's then people will stumble upon you, and then the YouTube algorithm will then be like, okay, this is getting more views, that's getting a click-through rate. We're gonna promote this video, and we're gonna like recommend it in your, like your suggested feed and things like that. And I think it's what people like streamers or content creators don't really think about. They don't think about it from like a business standpoint. They think about like, oh, I'm just gonna make some great content, and then people will watch it. But there's no organic reach on YouTube right now, you know? Like it's
Right.
in 2007 you could have posted like, let's say, a Call of Duty video, and it would have gotten a couple thousand views just because it was a Call of Duty video and people were trying to look up Call of Duty. You know, now everybody and their mother wants to be the next big streamer, and there's millions of Call of Duty 20 kill gameplays on Blackout, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's insane. It's hard to try and figure out how to separate yourself from the rest of the crowd, you know.
Especially at the game's like end of its life cycle, it's pretty rough.
Yeah, even like Modern Warfare right now though, like I just never got into the game. Like I played it, I grinded it for like 3 days. What about you? How long did you play Modern Warfare?
So day one, I actually streamed the campaign to 0 viewers. And then I was like, okay, well, I thought I'd be different and do the campaign because it's going to be pubs. So then day two, I streamed pubs for like, I think it was like 4 hours. And like 10 minutes into it, I wanted to die. Like, Call of Duty pubs are the worst thing ever.
Especially in this new Call of Duty. It's rough, man.
It's bad.
It's so rough. Like there's so many angles to get shot from, and the time to kill is so low that you can't even really react to anything anymore. Ugh.
It's like almost every gun is a one hit if you get a headshot.
Right? Or like, yeah. Or if there's 2 people shooting at you, forget it. You're automatically lost the gunfight. You can't finesse anything. So I know that the battle royale is going to be different because you're going to have like armor and you're going to have like different like things to kind of beef you up. But man, I really hope this battle royale is nice. When do you project that it's going to be out?
I don't know. See, everyone was saying like January, but they've still like not acknowledged anything about this battle royale. So I'm kind
Yeah.
of skeptical, to be honest.
That it's even going to come out?
I don't. I think that they're going to produce one because it would be a mistake not to. I just don't know if it's going to be so soon.
Yeah. I definitely think it's coming Q1, sometime in like Q1 of 2020.
I hope so.
I definitely hope so. Like, I don't know if I can play more Blackout because it's just the reach isn't there, you know, to try and become a full-time creator. But dude, I love Blackout though. Like I love the grapple gun. I love the maneuverability in it all. Like I wish that game was like just as big as Fortnite because like even like you don't think you're that good at the game, but there are millions upon millions of people that play that game that wish they were as good as you know?
Yeah.
And so like that's like how Fortnite was. If you were decent at the game and you streamed it early on, there's people making millions of dollars off of that now, you know? It's so crazy to me. But so a couple years down the line, you want to be making around like $2,000, right? Like
That would be
that's your goal?
awesome.
That's your goal. And your wife is fully supportive of it. Like
Yeah.
you're in a great position. It seems like, you know, like you've got a supporting like family that wants you to achieve your dreams. I know a lot of people that are in their late 20s like have more responsibilities or like people holding them back to try and from reaching their goals. So it's pretty cool that you're not in that position, you know, where you don't have like a wife that's like, yo, get off the video games, you know. She's actually in the chat like cheering you on the whole time. I think that's so cool. Yeah.
Pretty wild.
Does she play games at all or
She used to play like BO2 and stuff with me.
what? She
Yeah.
plays Call of Duty?
Yeah.
Oh, dude. Okay, I need to find me a girl that plays video games. Not even joking.
I have to make sure she's not around, but she's not very good.
Shots. But oh, she heard. Oh, she heard. Doghouse.
Weird.
She's like, let's play some zombies right now, bro. What did you guys used to play?
Dude, we actually a lot. Like she has a, what is it? I think it's a Wii. Yeah, then the Nintendo Wii. Like Mario Kart, like all kinds
Mario
of games
Kart's
on
fun.
that.
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
But we did play a lot of Call of Duty.
yeah. Dude, call not on the Wii though, right?
No, oh my God, can you even do
Okay.
that?
They used to have like World at War on the Wii. Did you ever play World at War? I love that
I don't
game.
think so.
Yeah, it was in between COD 4 and I believe Modern Warfare 2. Yeah, COD 4 Modern Warfare 2 was World at War was the Treyarch game that
I
they
think
made.
that might be one that I skipped. I don't remember ever playing Infinite Warfare either.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was the one right before. It was like Black Ops 3, Infinite Warfare, and then Black Ops 4, I believe.
Yeah.
They
No,
also,
World War II.
oh shit, yeah, World War 2.
I didn't play that one either.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I that's actually where I started streaming Call of Duty heavily. I did like a Road to Master Prestige. You could not kill me on that game in what was it? Search and Destroy. I was unstoppable, man. Unstoppable. I would get like 20 kill Search and Destroy games. It was awesome.
World
But,
War II?
yeah, man, I loved it,
Oh,
and I
man.
could like quick scope on it. It was fun, man. If you go back to like my old videos, those are like the first videos that I've ever really made on my YouTube channel. But that was when I was still living at home with my mom. It's crazy to think like how far back everything goes. You know?
Yeah.
Did you ever see yourself as being a content creator? Personally,
No.
like you never like wanted to be a streamer or anything like that.
No. I mean, I never even considered it.
When did you find streaming? Like, when did you figure out that like people were making a living doing it?
Spiros.
Really? So just recently, then?
Yeah.
How did you kind of stumble upon that with him? Like, just kind of watching his stream, seeing how much money he was making, or was there a subject that he talked about on stream one day?
Honestly, like I said, I was really bad at the game, and I got rolled up on in a solo one time. I mean, I thought I was playing like tactically by just like chilling in the bushes and stuff.
That's what you were telling me, like early on.
Yeah, and like just one day this guy just rolls up on me and kills me, and like I spectate him and he's got like 16 kills, and I'm like, there's no way that anyone can play like this. So I went on YouTube and like literally put in the search bar like how to be better at Blackout,
Hmm.
and literally his video popped up, like his random duo.
Really?
Yeah, and then I started watching all of his dude, I stayed up probably like, I don't even know. I watched every single video of his that night. And then the next day I jumped on an ATV and I was like just pushing everyone, and I dropped a 12 kill game, and I was like, "What?"
I can do this?
Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy. Yeah, no, I think I actually saw that. There's a video that made him like huge. You know, there was one video that like popped him off, and I think it was like a how to get better at Blackout video, and he was like one of the first to do it. And it's, dude, I remember that time because you said like you hopped on an ATV and just rushed everything. That was the meta for so long, where people would just hop on a vehicle, rush everything with like a SOG, you know, roll up on them and like fake them out just a little bit so they thought you were up here, but you got out back here and you would just light them up, and it was like game over every single time.
Yeah.
So is that how you kind of like got better at the game though? Is just like by constant engagement?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like before that point, I would be surprised if I got a kill a game.
Yeah.
And I mean, my first win, I had one kill, but the final guy literally died to storm and fall damage.
Were you freaking out though? Were you like, I got one?
Dude, my adrenaline was like pumping. I was going nuts. I won, and I was just like, "Oh my God, that's so awesome!"
And now you get 10 a day.
Yeah, it's like if I'm playing a solo and I get less than 10, I'm like, man, this is bullshit.
Right? And then when you and me played, we legitimately got 10 wins in one like session,
Yeah.
which is insane. And like how long did it take you to get your first win? Like how many like weeks or like
Dude,
games
it
or
was
whatnot?
quite, not counting that one, because that, I mean, I
Doesn't
definitely
count.
did not earn that win. Um, it was probably like 4 weeks after that, at least, for my next solo
Ooh.
win.
Oh, that's rough, man. Was that
It
before or
was.
after watching Spiros?
That was
That
before. And then after watching Spiros, it was like, I mean, I would say my win percentage now, if I reset, would be at least like 15 to 20.
that's pretty nice, man. That's pretty nice. What would you suggest somebody that's not good at battle royales, or let's take Blackout for example, because like that's what you were not so great at, and you've now manifested into kind of becoming, I would say, a middle to top tier player, right? Without giving you too much credit or taking too much away from you. Uh, what tips would you give somebody that's like horrible at the game that wants to get better? Because like you were in that position where you could only get maybe a kill a game.
Don't be scared.
Yeah, just more
That's literally
aggression.
the best advice. Like if I could go back and tell myself one thing on day one, like just starting to play, I would just say, don't be so fucking scared.
I love it, man. No, that's a great tip. Like there were people that thought that um, like people were crazy for dropping firing range when the game first came out. But I would drop there all the time just to get the combat experience. You know, I didn't even think that I was getting better. I just wanted more engagement so that I could like learn the navigation a little bit. And it's so much more fun to play that way. You know what I mean? To
It
where like
is.
you're like, hey, like if I die, I'll just hop into another game. But at least I get like an engagement and I can fight with somebody like straight out the gate. Whereas like I played a little bit tactically at the beginning as well, and it's so boring, you know, like just like rolling along with the storm and trying not to engage somebody or seeing somebody and like letting them pass because you don't want to like get exposed or things like that. And it's just a boring, like unfulfilling way to play, in my
It
opinion.
honestly is.
Yeah, but dude, honestly, we've been doing this for an hour and 10 minutes now. So it was a little bit before that, but for some reason my recording stopped. And so I picked it up at a good time. So I'm probably just gonna have to like either clip it together if I can, or if I can't use it, like edit it together. You know what I mean? But dude, I think that's a great place to end it. What do you think?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add to it?
No, I
Any?
mean, this was my first podcast, and I think it's actually pretty fun. So thank you.
Yeah, no, dude. Honestly, it was so much fun. I feel like I've talked more in this podcast than probably a lot of others, and like I've opened up to like my personal life on like my stories a little bit. So, I think for those who are watching, I think for both of us, we gave a little bit to everybody. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
dude, honestly, thank you so much for coming in on the podcast. Greatly appreciate it. For everybody who is watching this right now, all the links are going to be down in the description for Cobra. His main kind of hub, though, right now is going to be Twitch. Definitely go give him a follow on Twitch. And if you have an extra $5 or you have Twitch Prime, which is actually free if you have Amazon Prime, you can sub for free with your Twitch Prime. So definitely go do that on my boy Cobra. Dude, I always mess that up. I want to point to
It's
you there,
backwards.
but it is backwards, so it sucks. But yeah, go subscribe to him. I'm also going to link his YouTube channel. Let's get a couple more subs on his YouTube channel so that he can start posting content. It'll like motivate him to
Yeah,
post
I,
it.
I got to stop procrastinating now, right?
Yeah, I'll also put your Twitter because I know you're pretty big on Twitter right now as well. So I'll post your Twitter there too. But guys, honestly, he is a amazing guy, goofy as hell, but so much fun to play with and so much fun to actually watch his content. He's one of the few streamers that all like if I'm bored and like editing a video, I'll have you up in the background, not to give you like smoke or cloud or anything like that. But
Yo,
I
my
like
head's
your
getting
content.
bigger.
Dude, right? I can just see it inflating as the seconds go on. But guys, that's gonna be it for me. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the podcast. This has been Slevtek's Roundtable with our guest star, if you want to call it, the OG Cobra. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys next Monday for our next episode. Hope you guys have a good night.
Adios.